Hey guys, welcome to Shay Shed. Today we're going to make a farmhouse lighthouse with clay pots. If you like more crafting ideas like this from Shay Shed, just please subscribe to my channel and also hit that notification button so that you will be notified when I have new videos out. We're going to use some clay pots today. They were an 8.25 inch, a 6 inch, and I think a 4.25 inch that I got at Walmart. And then the saucers I think was a 10 inch and a 6 inch. The bottom saucer that the lighthouse is the base of will fit the top part of your bigger pot. So whatever size a lighthouse you want to make, it will be according to the pots that you choose. But it will be 3 pots and then 2 saucers. And this I'm getting ready to paint. I paint a base coat of semi-gloss or gloss Rust-Oleum 2-time spray paint. I just spray the inside just because it seals the pots. Some people don't. They leave them open, but my paint seems to do better all the way around. If you've ever used clay pots, it needs to be sealed. So I do spray a coat on the inside and then outside. And then for the trim and for the saucers, I used Waverly chalk paint from Walmart in sandstone. This is the first time I've actually used the chalk paint for this. It did take me, I think, 3 times to coat it. Usually I'll use Rust-Oleum and the 2 times with the primer in it, whatever color I choose for the trim, and it seems to work a little bit better. But this turned out pretty good. It just took more coats of paint, so keep that in mind whenever you're doing the trim. And I used a sponge brush because that's easier. It's easier to put the application on. It doesn't streak. But I did put 3 coats of the chalk paint on the trim. And again, I used the Rust-Oleum for the pot, the base, the body part of the pot. And it does take time for the paint to dry. That's the longest part, really, is waiting for the paint to dry after you paint the inside and the outside of the pots, and then the trims too. And then here I'm going to paint the saucers. I used the chalk paint for Waverly again. And again, that took 3 coats as well, just to get it covered and let it dry. And I usually do the top and the bottom of the pot of the saucers. And then that's the smaller saucer that the solar light will fit on the top of the lighthouse. So after they dried, that's what it looks like. And then there's my pot. I'm going to put the glue. I use E6000 glue, and here I'm taking a level to make sure it's level. It's sitting on a piece of glass that's on my table, and it's more of a level surface. And then I use my level to make sure the pot is level in each saucer. I take the E6000 glue, and it does have to dry overnight. It takes 24 hours for it to really take hold. And after I see where I want to place it, I'm going to put the E6000 glue around the rim of the pot to where it will sit down in the saucer. This glue is really great. It's the only one that I've found actually that if you put the lighthouses outside. Now glue is glue, and if you keep them out in the direct sun, eventually you're going to have to re-glue it. But the E6000 glue seems to hold better than any of the rest of the glues. And then I level it out again, make sure it's centered and level. And I'll do each pot like that as I stack them, just to make sure the lighthouse is level. And this is my second pot. You actually need to glue that on the inside of that rim instead of on the actual bottom part, which I should have done. And that's where I went back here and put it on the inside of the rim, because it fits down on the first pot, so it doesn't really need to go on the bottom exactly, just on the inside. And then I have my level. I'm leveling it out. It's important to make sure it's level, because you don't want the pots crooked, drying crooked. You just need to get them level to begin with. And you can, look at it and kind of see if it's tilting. See, it tilted a little bit, so I had to move it back. And then here, and then we put the top saucer. What I took was a solar light, and the stake part just pops off. Just pull it off, and I measure the saucer. I'm trying to get the center of the saucer. So I just took a Sharpie and took my ruler or tape measure, and I'm just finding the center of the saucer. I'm just going to put a dot right in the center. I think it was like 3 inches on all sides, and then I found the center. And then the little drill bits that you see laying on the table there, I actually will have a link in my description or in my comments for those. I got them off of Amazon, and you can get them at Lowe's. I've bought them at Lowe's too. They're called glass cutting or tile drill bits. If you're looking for them, I will leave a link in the comments or the description. And I'm just finding the center so I know where to cut. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because the clay pot is brittle when you do this. And after I do put the hole in it, I have to go back and repaint that centerpiece and let that dry, just because the clay pot is so brittle, you can't get an exact square to fit the solar light. And so you just take that drill bit. That's what it looks like. It's got like a little point on it, like an arrow almost. And again, it's called glass or tile drill bit. And I just put it in my drill, and I just have to keep drilling the square part out to make the hole. And it's kind of messy. I'm not, it does get kind of messy. And I'll take a wet wipe and wipe off all the clay pot dust before I paint it, because it does get kind of messy. I do have a board under there because of my table. I just didn't want it to go through to my table. And you can see I've done this a few times on that board. But you see how I took the paint off some? That's where I'm just trying to get it evened out more, where the solar light will fit in there, that little square part on the bottom of the solar light. And then what we'll do is glue that on there. And see, the bottom part, the paint came off too. So I'm taking my wet wipe and I'm going to wipe off the dust. And then I just take that chalk paint and paint over it again, just to make it look like it did before. It doesn't look as bad, and you're not going to see any of that anyway. And then you will take the saucer, the top saucer, and you're going to put your E6000 glue on there. And then you'll take the saucer and place it on top of there. Just make sure it's level and all sides are even and everything's level before it dries, because once it dries, it's hard to get that apart. So you just want to keep checking it and make sure it's level as it's drying, because sometimes it does slip with the glue. And then you take the glue and put it on the square bottom part of the solar light, and you just stick it in that hole. And you can there'll be some excess that comes off, but you can wipe that off with your baby wipe. I'm sorry, it's hard to see this. It was so tall, I couldn't get it all in my camera from that view. I know for next time. And I'm still making sure it's level on all sides. And then I had some decals that I got. They have to be flat. The 3D ones do not work. I've tried that before. They don't work. I've got these from Hobby Lobby. And I think they were like $2.99 per slip, but they were 40% off the day that I went. Sometimes they run them half off. Then I just put them where I want them on each pot or on the trim, which, you know, whatever your decals are, wherever you decide to put them. And I did go back and fix that because it was a little crooked. I told you it does slide a little bit, but you have to make sure it's level. And that's what these decals, these seem to work the best for me. They're clear around the outside of them. They're like a plastic vinyl almost, but they seem to work the best out of all the decals that I've tried on these lighthouses. And you just put them wherever you want them. You can decoupage these with napkins if you wanted to. You have to keep in mind if people are going to have them outside, it really depends on your paint. We do clear coat it at the end with some Rust-Oleum 2x clear paint, this UV protectant for the sun, but it is better if they keep them like on a porch or like on a steps that has an overhang. If it's in direct sun, it will fade, but the best paint or clear coat that I found is the Rust-Oleum 2x with or any kind that has UV protectant in it. Will work best. I sprayed this a couple of times. You may want to put painter's tape over your solar light so the clear doesn't get on there. But that's the finished product. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and hope I would love to see what you come up with. These are fun. They're not hard at all. The most time that it takes is the paint, because the painting has to dry, but it's really pretty simple. It's just you're waiting on the paint. Don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that notifications button. Thanks for watching.